This is definitely a bomb. She's also got her chemtrails going too. Look at that. Lori McBride over Florida. Wow. She just never gives up, man. Look at that. I don't know, that's a bomb, man. That's not, those aren't clouds, that's a bomb. Yep, that's a bomb. This is the western sky. This is the northern sky. Just looks interesting everywhere. This is the eastern sky. Yep, definitely some sort of major bomb she dropped over Florida. Huh. There, yep. Check out the clouds on this side. They look rather interesting. This is the southern sky. Now that is a huge brooding cloud. It's like it's just hovering over us. This is over the western sky. That's not a cloud, that's a bomb, man. That's a bomb. Hi, you guys. I've become a Revelation scholar, literally. I'm almost done with the Dallas Theological Seminary free Revelation course. I finished 7 lessons in a week. Yeah, there are not total of 9 lessons. I've made straight hundreds. To me, it's really easy. I'm not complaining. I mean, but I am learning some new things. So I don't regret that I signed up for it, but it's not going to be enough. I need to still go deeper into the book of Revelation in order to make my story world and my novel Silver Skies 1996 version come alive. You see, the last third of the book, my main characters are going to be in the tribulation period, and they're going to be instrumental in the salvation of the Jewish nation. Actually, the entire Bible is focused on this topic. So in order to make sure that the last third is true to the Bible, I have to become a bit of a Bible scholar. And that's exactly what I've become. I've always been interested in Revelation. I'm going to show you. I bought this book in the 1980s. It's by Peter Ruckman, who I no longer follow. Actually, he's in heaven now. I believe Ruckman's in heaven, even though he was off on his King James Bible only position. That is a very complex topic, but basically my ex contaminated me and got me to become a King James Bible only person. And I was raised in a fundamental Baptist church, and a lot of fundamental Baptists honor the King James Bible, but most of them don't worship it like Ruckman does. They understand that the originals are the inspired text and that everything else is a translation. So if you really want to get the best interpretation of anything in the Bible, it's helpful to know what's in the originals. But Dr. Ruckman felt that that the English King James Version was divinely preserved. And it was divinely preserved. But that doesn't mean but he felt it was divinely preserved to the point that the English in the King James was without error. And that isn't true. There are portions of the King James text, partly because that's Old English, which is no longer used now, and for other reasons, and because at that time they didn't have the latest manuscripts. Later, after the King James was published, some original Bible manuscripts from the Greek, and I think even the Hebrew and the Aramaic, were discovered that were more recent and more accurate than the Textus Receptus from which the King James was translated. And oh, by the way, I open up this video with scenes from Lori's Bombs in the Sky. She's terrible. She needs to stop doing that. And so basically I've become a Revelation scholar. I have been I'm rereading this. I first read it in the 1980s. And because I've grown as a believer since I've abandoned the King James only position, I can see that he's off about 80%. Um, I've been forced to become a Revelation scholar in order to make the last third of my novel accurate. And I'm going to be. I've been listening to Dr. Andy Woods, and I'm not limiting it to him. Arnold Fruchtenbaum and Chuck Missler, and I'm also going to be reading Walvoord's Revelation commentary, which I have on my Kindle. I found another really good teacher called Christopher Scott, and I have an entire page devoted to his Revelation studies at my website. And if you're somebody who wants to know the book of Revelation, you need to check that out. He is really good. He's a Dallas Theological Seminary graduate, and he has a very scholarly approach to the book of Revelation. A scholarly approach to me is somebody who approaches the book of Revelation believing that the Bible is divinely inspired and taking a literal interpretation, which is the only way to interpret the Bible. In other words, it means what it says unless it states that it's a figure or a metaphor. Usually, if something is meant to be interpreted as a symbol, a metaphor, or a simile, the Bible will state it right there in the passage. So if it doesn't state that what you're reading is meant to be a symbol or a metaphor, that means to interpret it literally. And I think the problem that people have with the book of Revelation is it's hard to understand, yes, because you got to understand the Apostle John was on the Isle of Patmos probably around 90 to 90 AD 90 to 96 when he wrote the book of Revelation, and he was enveloped in a vision that literally took him to the future, and what he saw was 21st century Earth, because I'm certain the tribulation is going to happen in the 21st century. And can you imagine what it must have been like to see cars and planes and helicopters and oh goodness, those bombs. She's dropping bombs and giving me the sniffles and everything. So he described it the best he could, but then he saw things that were pretty wild. I mean, there are descriptions of creatures that they have tails, and at the end of the tail is a head like a snake that bites people. And a lot of people, they read that stuff, and these are creatures that come out of the abyss. Satan is described as a star who's given a key. Now, right there, in that passage, and I think that's in Revelation 13 or 14, that's a figure, because a star can't hold a key. So obviously the star is symbolic of Satan in that passage. Stars in the Bible are often angels, but anyways, if you want to understand the book of Revelation, you need to go to my website and check out my blog posts. I have been studying this like a Bible scholar, like the Dallas Seminary course. I'm almost done. I started a week ago. I've finished 7 out of 9 units. There are a total of 9 units in the course. I've already done 7. I made 100 on every single quiz. It's a piece of cake. It's an easy course. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I've been thinking, how come this course seems so easy to me? Is this just an easy piece of cake course? Or do I just know Revelation so well that it seems like a piece of cake course to me? I don't know. I'm thinking, what if the average non-Christian took this course? How would they do? They'd probably still do pretty good, because I think it's an easy course, but that's probably why it's not accredited. But I am learning some new things. And Dr. Toussaint, I can tell, has really thought through his interpretations of Revelation. You would say, well, how do we know you're telling the truth? Well, I'm a Bible writer. Jesus has appeared to me and my men, and he's spoken to us so much that I have transcripts of all our conversations with him in Bible for Tribulation Saints, and it's now bigger than the Bible. In fact, I'm hearing brain to brain that the like Dallas, I think, was the first one on board, and my husband, Brent Spiner, goes to Dallas. But I hear that Dallas Theological Seminary has not only concluded that Bible for Tribulation Saints should be part of the canon, they are now offering degrees in Bible, like PhD degrees, master's degrees in Bible, where my Bible for Tribulation Saints has been incorporated into the curriculum. And you can now get like a master's or PhD. I don't think they mention this on their main website, but you're probably hearing about it on Gabriel Chana Fox News. And they are offering degrees where now they're teaching what they call the books of Bible for Tribulation Saints as coursework at Dallas Theological Seminary. And what they're doing, and actually I've been starting to do this. You can go to my website and like I've got a Bible study on Revelation 10, which is fascinating. Because I believe that the little book that the angel's holding in Revelation 10 could be my Bible for Tribulation Saints. That little book that the angel told John, don't write what's in this book. And that's because at the time, you know, that John wrote, and I've got a whole page on that. So Dallas Theological Seminary has started a course offering degrees now in studying Bible for Tribulation Saints and comparing it with the Bible. And actually, what you can do with Bible for Tribulation Saints, because Jesus has updated his Bible, basically. You might say, but I've been thinking about the fact that Revelation 22, 18, and 19 says, if anyone adds to or subtracts from the book of this prophecy, they shall get the plagues that are in this book. But my Bible for Tribulation Saints, you know what? Maybe we should say the canon is closed. And my Bible for Tribulation Saints, which by the way, isn't even finished yet, because Jesus already said he's going to be talking to me some more, is part of that canon, because I'm in Revelation 10. Okay, let me explain it. In Revelation 10, I believe it's the angel Gabriel. The seven thunders spill out the contents of that little book that he's holding, which I believe was Bible for Tribulation Saints. And John was about to write it down, because that's what he'd been doing all along, because God told him to write down what you see. But when they came to Revelation 10, the angel said, don't write it down. It's to be sealed for now. I believe that was Bible for Tribulation Saints. So, since Bible for Tribulation Saints is Revelation 10 exposed, or that little book in Revelation 10, that means my Bible for Tribulation Saints is part of the closed canon. My Revelation 10, not Revelation 10, Bible for Tribulation Saints is that little book, which is part of the canon. It's just that at that time, it was a sealed book. It's now an open book. It's opening up. So my Bible for Tribulation Saints is Revelation 10 expanded. So it's part of the closed canon. I don't know if that makes any sense. So people that say, well, your Bible for Tribulation Saints can't be an addition to the Bible because the canon is closed. Maybe it is closed. But what my Bible for Tribulation Saints is Revelation 10 expanded. It's the little book which is no longer secret. So it's part of the closed canon. It's my Bible for Tribulation Saints is the little book in Revelation 10. In other words, Jesus and God consider that little book to be part of the canon. The only thing is, it hasn't been opened until I came on the scene. The contents were kept secret until I came on the scene, and my Bible for Tribulation Saints is that secret book now being revealed, because now is the time. Actually, yeah. So it doesn't violate the theology that the canon's closed, because it's the Revelation 10 little book, part of the canon. Okay. When that angel revealed the contents of the little book in Revelation 10 to John and told him not to write it, wouldn't you agree that the contents of the little book would, if they were known, would be part of the canon. Well, they're known now. You may say, well, you're a charismatic. You see vision. I have never, to be honest with you, I have never met Jesus personally, one-on-one. He refuses to meet with me because Satan is too interested in me and because Satan would impersonate him to me. All I'm doing is Jesus does appear to my husband, Brent Spiner, and to Judge Terrance Jenkins, and to the men on my marriage list at Church of Gail. He shows up in body, in person, and he talks to them. And sometimes my men will tell me what he said to them. And whatever he said to them, and they tell me, I write it down, and it goes in Bible for Tribulation Saints. So that's Bible for Tribulation Saints. He said a lot to me. So that's what is in Bible for Tribulation Saints. Now, what, like I said, Dallas, from what I'm hearing, is they're now offering degrees in Bible, master's and doctorate, and I think even a certificate program, where people are studying Bible for Tribulation Saints along with the main Bible and comparing the two, and maybe reevaluating some interpretations of other portions of the traditional Bible that have been interpreted incorrectly. You might say, like what? Well, like the view on homosexuality, which is very common in evangelical circles, that it's a sin. This is what Jesus said to us in Bible for Tribulation Saints. He said that he doesn't have a problem with gay sex as long as it's done in love. So, but that he prefers the man-woman relationship in marriage. That's his favorite. But he said, just because that's my favorite does not mean that I hate gays or that they're not saved or that there's anything wrong with the way gay people are. He said that. That's in Bible for Tribulation Saints. So that's an area where maybe some evangelicals need to reevaluate their position on homosexuality. You may say, why? But then why is there that verse in Leviticus? And then there's even verses in the New Testament. Well, this is why Dallas Theological Seminary is now offering a degree in this, because they need to reevaluate some of their positions on certain subjects. Another area that needs to be reevaluated, the nation of Israel. I asked Jesus once, I said, Jesus, isn't Dr. Ruckman, I said, believes that only the 144,000 will be saved in the tribulation? That's kind of discouraging. Is that true? And Jesus said, yes, that is true. He said, and I thought, I went back and thought about that. I thought, but the Bible makes it plain that the Jewish nation is going to be saved. And I thought that was at the end of the tribulation. But I went and read the passage in Matthew. It's after the tribulation. You see, to Jesus, when the Jewish nation comes to him, and of course I've become an expert on this because of my novel, they use the word, and after the tribulation of those days are over, then the Jewish nation will come to him. All of them, all at once. This is the kind of complex topic which I've been exploring. Like I said, I've become a bit of a Bible scholar on Revelation. I've been forced to. I'm going to be reading about 4 or 5 books on Revelation. And I'm actually, like I said, Dallas is now, from what I understand, and they're not the only ones. From what I understand, every evangelical seminary has now concluded that my Bible for Tribulation, they came to that decision, I think, years ago. But now it's gotten to the point where they're so sure of it that they've developed a curriculum where Bible for Tribulation Saints is now considered part of the Bible curriculum that you need to learn to get a degree in Bible from schools like Dallas. You might say, they don't say that online. Well, there are 2 different versions of the internet out there. The Laurie McBride version and the true version. And unfortunately, a lot of people are getting the Laurie McBride version. There are clones of the internet. It's a Jesuit technology that they've had for a long time. And a lot of people are seeing the clone Lori McBride version because she hides the true version. She modifies it and makes sure that her version of the internet, which I think most is what most people are getting, presents her lies to the world. You know, that she's the wife of Brent Spiner and all that sort of stuff. And she basically controls Twitter and Facebook and makes sure that truth that would be harmful to her never gets out there. So she's got some pretty advanced UFO technology helping her out along that line. Oh, by the way, it's going to be my policy to ignore trolls. So if I get any idiotic comments underneath my videos, and I get lots of them, I'm just going to ignore them. You say, why don't you just block these people? I used to do that. But Jesus says he wants me to keep them up. He said the best disinfectant is sunlight. So I'm going to leave them up. I've only taken down about 2 people, and that's because they were doing stuff that I thought might be dangerous. And so I took them down. But other than that, free speech reigns. I'm going to let the idiots have their say. But I will be, if I determine, what I'm going to do is read the comments. And in most cases, if I determine it's a troll, you will be ignored. Okay? So I'm just letting you know that I'm not going to waste my time with trolls. It's a waste of time. And Jesus doesn't, even though he gets a kick out of me debating with trolls, he also said that, he said, engaging with a troll or debating online is like the Special Olympics. Even if you win, you're still a retard. So he doesn't want me wasting my time with you trolls. So I will be ignoring them. There are a lot of them out there. And they're basically, their goal is to get into a fight with me. Maybe Laura McBride pays them bonus money, and I wouldn't be surprised because, like I said, she controls the internet. She's a big liar, and her entire life is a lie. She's got an army of clones out there helping her out and helping to enforce her lies. And, you know, the people that follow me, they know the truth. They know there's a clone army out there. They know clones exist. And oh, by the way, clones, I believe, are in the Bible. In the parable of the virgins, when Christ comes. And I kind of got this from Ruckman. Ruckman, I'm rereading him because even though he's wrong in about 80% of his interpretations, I mean, what beats me is he's so confident in his foolishness. He really deluded himself. You might say, well, if you limit yourself to the King James Bible and treat it like it's like the English is the inspired text, you're going to come up with some pretty loony conclusions, and he has. But because he has the courage to call a spade and to believe what he reads in the King James, which is an excellent translation, by the way, he actually helped me to figure out some pretty brilliant interpretations. The parable of the virgins in Matthew 24, I believe it is. We have these 10 virgins, and Jesus describes them as 5 were foolish, 5 were wise. And the 5 foolish virgins didn't have oil in their lamps when the bridegroom came. That's when Jesus returns at his second coming. And so they were left behind. Okay, the 5 foolish virgins, I believe, were clones of the 144,000 described in Revelation 7 and 14. The 144,000 are virgin Jewish men from 12 tribes of Israel. I'm not going to go into why Dan was missing and all that, but I agree with the Bible scholars like Andy Woods, who they don't think it means anything that Dan was missing and that Joseph incorporated the tribe of, I think it was Ephraim. Joseph had 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. But Dan was missing simply because God likes to use the number 12 when he's talking about Israel. And that's not the only place where a tribe is missing. I think in other parts of the Bible, like another tribe might be missing. It's nothing significant. It's just God just chose not to include them for some reason in that passage. Some people think it's because Dan's an evil tribe, and I'm not going to go there right now. But anyways, getting off the subject, the thing is, so you got 5 foolish virgins, 5 wise virgins. Ruckman thinks that those virgins were the 144,000 because they're described as virgin men in the book of Revelation. I think this is one where I think Ruckman got it right. But if those virgins in Matthew 24, in that parable, were the 144,000, how do you explain the foolish virgins? Because those 144,000 are righteous men. They're sealed, which means they can't be killed in the tribulation. And why does he describe 5 of them as foolish? Why, none of the 144,000 in the book of Revelation are described as foolish. They're all sealed and saved and chosen. They're all going to go into the millennium. You know, the 1,000-year reign after the 7-year tribulation. So here's my conclusion. Yes, Ruckman, you are right. Those virgins are the 144,000. The 5 wise ones are the authentic virgins. The 5 foolish ones were clones, Jew clones of the 144,000. And they get left behind. And Jesus says, I never knew you. So Jew clones are in the Bible. Matthew 24, they are the foolish virgins. So you see, I believe the Antichrist is going to make Jew clones of the 144,000 to get everybody all confused. He's going to say, see, I have my 144,000. The Antichrist is going to say, and he's telling you, you need to take the mark. Actually, I'm going to use that. I think I'm going to use that in my novel. I don't want to ruin my novel for you, all right? But I'm getting lots of story ideas from studying the Bible, Revelation. So yeah, man. Well, you say, no, those are just Christians. No. The Olivet Discourse, folks. Matthew 24 and 25, that is not talking about the church. You got to rightly divide the Bible. And this one, Ruckman is right. And not just Ruckman, the dispensationalists like Dallas Theological Seminary is a dispensational school. That's why I like them. They got it right. You can't mix up Israel and the church. They are 2 different animals in the Bible. Okay? Matthew 24 and 25 is directed to the nation of Israel. At that time, Jesus was offering the kingdom. He was presenting himself as the king to the Jewish nation. He's saying, I am your Messiah. You need to accept me. And if you do, I will set up my kingdom right now. And they rejected him. He knew they would reject him, and that's why God used John the Baptist in place of Elijah as the prophet preparing the way. But in the tribulation, you may say, how do you know that 24 and 25? The only way 24 and 25, Matthew 24 and 25 can make sense is if he's dealing with Israel in those passages. And they are tribulation passages. They are for tribulation saints. You see, the 7-year tribulation is called the time of Jacob's trouble, which means God's going to be dealing with Israel again. So yeah, those, I believe that they are. What's interesting is he calls them virgins. And you know, he's dealing with Israel. This is the Olivet Discourse. Dr. Andy Woods agrees with me. This is an Israel passage. Dealing with the Jews, tribulation Jews. Yeah, there might be dealing with some tribulation Gentiles, but it's not the church. The church is gone, man. We're going to be raptured. The church does not go into the tribulation. And that's the position I have in my novel. We're gone. You say, well, are your main characters saved? I don't want to give too much away because I'm going to ruin the book for you, okay? But my theological position, I'm a premill, pre-tribulation, dispensational, which is the only way to interpret the Bible, if you interpret it literally. So yeah, so Matthew 25, the virgins, I believe, are the 144,000. Why are they called virgins? But then, you know, the objection to that is to say, but they can't be the 144,000 because, and then Jesus told me the 144,000 are the only Jews who will be saved in the tribulation. So that's why I've come to that conclusion. And the five ones who didn't have oil in their lamps, in other words, they weren't saved, they didn't have the Holy Spirit, oil's type of Holy Spirit, those are Jew clones. So Jew clones are in the Bible, folks. Yeah, man. That's what I can thank Ruckman for that. Because I read his commentary. He thought that the 144,000 were those virgins because they're called virgins, Just like those 144,000 are all Jewish virgin men from the 12 tribes. No, they're not Jehovah's Witnesses. Anybody who believes that's a Bible blockhead. The only way you could believe those are Jehovah's Witnesses is if you got to be a Bible blockhead, man. They're Jewish. Revelation is a very Jewish book, by the way, in the New Testament, because book of Revelation is like, what the book of Revelation does is it takes all those Old Testament prophecies about Christ's second coming and puts them in order for you so that you understand when they're going to happen. So that's what the book of Revelation does. There are many references to the Old Testament or the Jewish Bible in the book of Revelation. So if you want to become a scholar on Revelation, you need to check out my blog posts. In fact, I even went to the trouble to create a little book on some of my findings. I have the link for that on the blog post where I have information from Christopher Scott, who's got some really good studies on Revelation. So I'm studying, I'm reading everything Christopher Scott has written about Revelation, reading everything Dr. Ruckman. I'm rereading Dr. Ruckman's commentary. I'm going to be rereading Don Walvoord. There's another Dallas Theological Seminary book that I'll be reading on Revelation. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to be listening to all of Andy Wood's 75 video series at his YouTube channel on Revelation. He's got 75 videos on it. I might also include Daniel in that study. I might go through Andy Wood's Daniel. So that means Silver Sky's 1996 version probably won't be ready for about 2 years. Every time I research, I learn something new, and I have to go in and modify my plot a little bit. Like, for instance, I was going to have about 1 million Jews left at the end of the tribulation that are part of the elect Jewish nation or the ones who become saved. I think that I'm going to have to knock it down to thousands because as a result of my studies in Revelation, I have concluded that most of them will have died off. It's the tribulation period is going to be horrific. I mean, the Bible says, like, there'll be so many people are going to die because of the judgments from God, along with the Antichrist pouring out his judgments on those who don't follow him, that between the two of them, the Earth's population is going to really dwindle. So, and the Jewish nation will be the target of the Antichrist from the middle of the tribulation forward, and they are going to die. It's really sad. I think by the end of the tribulation, there will only be about thousands of Jews left in the whole world. So anyways, it's not, you might say, God must be so mean. No, you can never accuse God of being mean. It just means the Jews are stubborn. They're stubborn. And not just them. During the tribulation, horrible things are going to be happening. People will only have blood to drink for times. They'll be dying off in spades. They're going to catch on fire. 1/3 of the world's going to burn up. Yeah, if you believe literal interpretation, meteorites will be hitting the earth and causing fires, causing water to turn to blood. I mean, they're going to turn on their water fountain and blood's going to come out. They're going to turn on the spigot. You flush your toilet, blood. That's what it's going to be like. I'm going to have scenes like that in my novel, by the way. It's going to be wild. There will be floods like tsunamis, earthquakes so big that mountains will literally fall into the sea. Whole continents will just drift off into the ocean. the state of California is probably just going to go underwater. I mean, it's going to be that bad. This is what's going to happen. Now, my men, Jesus did say that I and my men are going through what the tribulation saints are going through. You might say, oh, no, that's not true. Well, you know what? You ought to read Bible for Tribulation Saints. We've had some pretty catastrophic close calls. And if it wasn't for me and my men, some of the things that have happened in the past 8 years, the earth as we know it, you wouldn't even recognize it if I and my men had not intervened, like with the Gail android. We defeated her, thank God. And then we were dealing with Angelina Ballerina, and she sent a Sarah Cocky to Earth. If that thing had hit, and if I didn't get between it and Earth, that thing had the power to destroy the universe 3 times over. But apparently my Gail shield was powerful enough that when I came and blocked it from hitting Earth, I lost all power to my Gail shield, but I did stop that thing from hitting Earth. If that thing had hit Earth, you'd probably see stuff happening like you're reading about in Revelation or worse. So anyways, I had to make a video. I am ignoring trolls, but I have become a Revelation scholar. The Dallas Seminary course is a piece of cake to me. I'll be done probably within 2 days. I'll be finished. But I'll still keep studying. I still need to learn more. Like I said, I'm going to be reading about 5 or 6 books, commentaries on Revelation from Bible scholars, plus listening to videos and stuff. I'll be reading books by Andy Woods, John Walvoord, Chris. And I also made a book from stuff that I found online so that I could read it on my Kindle on my bed. You can get that book at my website. If you go through the post, you'll find the link for it. I'm going to be reading about 6 or 7 books on commentaries on Revelation so that I can be sure that my novel portrays it accurately. So it's going to take me a while. And then I will also be deeply studying Jewish culture so that I can portray accurately what the nation of Israel will be like in the tribulation and why they respond the way they do. Why none of them get saved except the 144,000. Why are they so stubborn? Well, part of it's going to be because the Antichrist is going to make a peace treaty with them. But you'll have to read my book. I personally think that he's going to make such a good deal with them that they're going to think that he is like a wonder worker. You know, they've had problems with having peace in Israel and always having fights with the Palestinians. And he's going to solve that for them for 3.5 years. So he's going to be like a hero to them. And that's part of the reason why none of them are going to get saved during the tribulation. Anyways, you got to check it. I am making scholarly posts at my website. I hear that Dallas Seminary is actually using some of my posts in their coursework for their new degree now in Bible, which has incorporated my Bible for Tribulation Saints. So now, to be a true Bible scholar, you need to know what's in Bible for Tribulation Saints. I will say this. There is no group out there that is 100% accurate in the way they've interpreted the Bible. But Dallas Theological Seminary is one of the better sources for interpretation. They're one of the better sources. But even they're not perfect. Probably the most accurate place to go to get the best interpretation of the Bible is my website. So if you have a question about maybe what the Bible says about homosexuality and stuff, just go to that search, go to the right side of my website, look for my little search bar, type in the topic, hit enter, and my website will just pull up the pages that I've written about that topic. I've actually turned into a bit of a Bible scholar in order to research for my novel. You can't understand Revelation unless you know the whole Bible, because the Revelation is like a summary of the entire Bible. You say it's a prophecy book. Yes. Did you know about 2/3 of the Bible is prophecy? It's a lot. I mean, at least half. So, and since the book of Revelation summarizes basically all the prophecies and tells you how they're going to come, especially related to the nation of Israel, you can't understand Revelation unless you know the whole Bible. So, I've become a bit of a Bible scholar, folks. You got questions about the Bible? Go to my website. Just hit that search. Go down to the right-hand side, about 2/3 of the way down. There's a little search bar. Put in the topic, hit enter, and I'll have pages on it. Anyways, I better go. I had to make my video for this week. Today's my laundry day and everything. And Lori's still dropping those bombs. So check out my website and ignore trolls. If you're a troll, you will be ignored. I'm too busy to waste my time with fools.